I'm a ranger at Kangaroo Island Conservation Park, and last month the tourists tried to report our koalas to Animal Protective Services because they sleep 22 hours a day and clearly have undiagnosed depression. I already called 3 government hotlines before hiking to my station. When I explained that's literally how koalas work, eucalyptus leaves are basically nutritional sedatives. He accused me of normalizing animal laziness and said he was documenting this for his congressman. He spent 40 minutes filming a sleeping koala as evidence of negligence. It's providing serious commentary about how this would never fly in a San Diego zoo. The koala woke up briefly, stared at him with those blank eyes, then went immediately back to sleep. He turned to me and said, "See? Learned helplessness." That koala has more survival skills in one claw than this man demonstrated in his entire vacation. I've been documenting these patterns for 6 years, across every tourist trap in Australia. Most travel channels give you highlights, give you the unfiltered sociology. If you want to see what really happens when cultures collide, subscribe. I've got dozens more of these stories. And they get significantly weirder. An American in Melbourne tried to pay her tram fine with Venmo when the inspector explained they need payment through the actual system. She got out her phone and said, "I'm Venmoing you right now. What's your username?" The inspector, bless him, tried explaining that's not how government fines work in any country. She created a Venmo account under Melbourne Transit Official and sent $80 to it. Then showed him her phone like she'd just solved international banking. There, paid. I have the receipt. That receipt was a screenshot of her sending money to herself. Now I know what you're thinking. Surely these are isolated incidents, flukes of travel confusion. But after working in Australian tourism for 6 years, I can confirm. Americans arrive here with extremely specific expectations about how the Southern Hemisphere should operate, and reality refuses to cooperate. I work at a crocodile tour company in Darwin, and an American dad tried to negotiate his 6-year-old into our cage dive because he's very mature for his age and watches Animal Planet. Our signs clearly state 15 plus only. No exceptions. Saltwater crocodiles are apex predators. He explained that his son had advanced swimming certification from his YMCA and had studied crocodile behavior patterns on YouTube. When I held firm, he pivoted to suggesting we do a trial run where his kid could just touch one through the bars to prove he's brave enough. I explained that crocodiles don't do practice runs and neither do we. He asked to speak to my manager, who is also me. Then he asked to speak to the owner, who happened to be standing right there. The owner, an Australian woman who's been doing this for 30 years, listened to his entire pitch about childhood exposure therapy and creating core memories. She said, "Mate, the croc doesn't care about his core memories. It cares that he's bite-sized." Dad accused us of crushing his son's dreams and left a 1-star review saying we refuse to accommodate American safety standards, which is possibly the most backward sentence ever written about crocodile safety. A woman at Sydney's Taronga Zoo filed a formal complaint because the platypus looks fake and is obviously animatronic, she'd convinced herself. The entire exhibit was a tourist scam because nothing that weird can be real. And the zookeeper brought out educational materials about monotremes. She called them propaganda and insisted platypuses were invented by Australian tourism boards in the 1970s. She had a whole theory. Platypus comes from Greek meaning flat foot, which is too onthenos to be natural. Evolution. She'd spent her morning Googling platypus conspiracy and found some satirical article she took seriously. The zookeeper, exhausted, asked what would convince her. She said, "Show me the eggs. They don't just have platypus eggs sitting around, because that's not how zoos work." But she took this as confirmation of the cover-up. She left threatening to expose this on TikTok, which she did. And the video got community noted within 3 hours by people explaining that platypuses are, in fact, real animals that have existed for millions of years. I'm a surf instructor at Bondi Beach. And last summer, an American guy got angry that our beach flags aren't properly certified. He wanted to see our OSHA documentation for flag placement. In America, apparently beach safety involves specific federal regulations he'd memorized. When I explained that Australia has its own safety system, those red and yellow flags mark where lifeguards patrol, he said, that's dangerously informal, and demanded to know which government agency approved their positioning. I told him to swim between the flags or don't swim. He went to the lifeguard tower and tried to submit a safety violation report, asking for the forms. The head lifeguard, who saved approximately 800 lives, told him there are no forms and to just stay between the bloody flags. The American then planted himself on the beach with his phone, filming the flag positions and muttering into his camera about liability concerns and how this would never pass inspection in Florida. A rip current formed just outside the flagged area. 3 tourists who ignored the flags got pulled out. Our lifeguards rescued all of them in under 4 minutes. Textbook perfect. The American filmed the entire rescue, then posted it as evidence that our flag system doesn't prevent incidents. The comments were entirely Australians explaining that the flags worked exactly as intended. Everyone inside them was perfectly safe. I work at Australia Post in Brisbane, and an American spent 20 minutes trying to mail a package to Austria while insisting it's spelled Australia. Kept correcting him. You mean Austria, the European country? He got defensive. No, Austria. Kangaroos. Sydney. Down under. What? When I pointed to the shipping label that literally said Vienna, he explained that Vienna is a city in Australia. Obviously, like Melbourne. I pulled up a map. He stared at it, then said, "Why would they name a whole different country almost the same thing? That's a trademark issue." It genuinely believed Austria was committing brand infringement against Australia and wanted to report it. Someone. I explained that Austria is older than Australia by about 1,000 years of recorded history. He Googled which came first, Austria or Australia, right there at the counter. Found the answer and then got mad at Austria for not changing their name to avoid confusion when Australia became famous. He redesigned his shipping label in angry silence and left muttering about European copyright theft. American at a Melbourne pharmacy demanded to know why Panadol costs $6 when it's just acetaminophen, which is 99 cents at Walgreens. The pharmacist explained that Panadol is a brand and also this isn't America. He pulled out his phone and showed her a screenshot of Walgreens prices like it was legally binding evidence. This is price gouging. I know what this costs to manufacture. He'd somehow calculated the raw material cost of acetaminophen and expected Australian retail to match his math. When she suggested he could shop around, he said that's exactly what monopolies want you to do. Waste time searching. Tried to negotiate, I'll take 10 bottles for $10. Final offer. She explained she doesn't set prices. He asked for the corporate number. She gave him the customer service line. He called it right there on speaker and tried to report her for refusing to honor international drug pricing standards. The customer service rep told him there's no such thing. He hung up and told the pharmacist, "I'm documenting this." Then filmed the price tag for a TikTok about Australian pharmaceutical cartels. I manage an Airbnb in Hobart, and an American guest filed a damage claim against me because the washing machine shrank his clothes. He'd washed his 100% cotton shirts in hot water on the heavy-duty cycle and was shocked that they came out smaller. My listing clearly states, front-loading machine, use cold water for delicates, instructions on the machine itself. He claimed that American washing machines have shrink protection technology and that mine was defective and outdated. I asked if he'd checked the care labels on his shirts. He said care labels are suggestions, not laws. This man believed that modern washing machines have anti-shrinking AI. When I explained that physics still applies in Australia, hot water shrinks natural fibers, he said I was making excuses for inferior appliances and demanded I reimburse him for 4 shirts at $80 each. I declined. He threatened to report me to Airbnb for falsely advertising a functioning washing machine. He left a review saying host refuses to take responsibility for faulty appliances. Cost me $320 in clothing. Airbnb removed the review after I submitted photos of the washing machine instructions and a basic explanation of textile science. He messaged me afterward. This isn't over. I'm a customs officer at Sydney Airport, and last week an American tried to declare his emotional support boomerang. Not as a wooden item, he understood that declaration, but as a medical device that should be tax-exempt. He had a laminated card from some online service claiming the boomerang helped with his anxiety. When I explained that's not how customs works, he said, in America, emotional support items are protected under the ADA. Told him this is Australia, and also that's not even how the ADA works. He insisted his doctor prescribed it, which seems unlikely given he bought it at the airport gift shop 20 minutes ago. I could see the price sticker. He demanded to see the customs manual section on therapeutic boomerangs. I explained there isn't one, because nobody has ever tried this before. He took this as a loophole, so there's no rule saying I can't. I clarified that the default isn't everything unstated is permitted. We went in circles for 10 minutes before he paid the tax, then asked for a receipt for his lawyer. His lawyer is definitely going to have questions about the phrase emotional support boomerang, is what I've learned. Americans don't just visit Australia. They arrive with a complete operational manual for how they believe the world works. And they're genuinely shocked when the Southern Hemisphere hasn't read it. It's not malicious. It's something almost more fascinating, an unshakable confidence that American systems are the default settings of reality itself, and everywhere else is just running outdated software. The metric system is a glitch. Wildlife that doesn't match their expectations is suspicious. Prices that differ from Florida require investigation. It's an entire worldview constructed from the assumption that if something works differently here, we simply haven't been properly informed of the correct way yet. This is the kind of cultural psychology most people experience but never articulate. I spend my time finding the pattern underneath the chaos. Every video breaks down a different collision point between expectation and reality. The subscribers here aren't looking for travel tips. They're looking for the anthropological breakdown everyone else misses. If that's your wavelength, you know where the button is? What's wild is the elaborate theories they construct rather than accepting simple explanations. A koala sleeps all day? Must be depressed. A platypus looks weird? Obviously fake. Washing machines shrink cotton. Defective technology. The cognitive architecture required to maintain these beliefs while standing directly in front of contradicting evidence is honestly impressive. I document one of these every single week, different country. Same psychological pattern. Americans in Japan, Brits in Spain, Australians in America getting confused right back. This channel is basically a field guide to how humans justify their confusion instead of updating their maps. Most people watch once and leave. Subscribers stick around because they've realized this is the most entertaining anthropology lesson they'll ever get. Your call-it's like watching someone insist the sun sets incorrectly in Australia because it goes down on the wrong side of the sky compared to home. But tomorrow, another plane lands. Another American will ask why we drive on the wrong side of the road, why our summer's in December, or why they can't pay their tram fine via Venmo and somewhere. An Australian will take a deep breath and explain once again that the world is large and contains multitudes. Most will listen. Some will argue. One will definitely try to report our koalas to someone's congressman. Welcome to Australia. The wildlife is real, the prices are what they are, and no, you cannot negotiate with the crocodiles.